live from Automotive Press. I began to do reviews on a live stream. People seem to like it, so I'm gonna try again. So I know people will take a bit of time to come in because of the fact that I didn't announce anything. So let me just double check to make sure that I am live. I'm gonna double check on my phone before I go too far. So yeah, I'm alive. So what I'm gonna do is look at my own channel so I can look at the comments and hopefully I can answer that as well. So I can just make sure, let me just make sure everything is working. So if whoever is in the channel, in the live stream, can you let me know if you can hear me okay, you can see me okay, just make some kind of comments for me so that I can tell that it's working. So let me see if people can respond to that. All right, so hi ALF from Miami. Can you just let me know if you can hear me okay? Hear me, oh, perfect. That's Nathaniel, Bob, Gary, all good. Yeah, sorry I didn't announce anything. And all of a sudden I'm starting a live stream, but I did this with 4Runner TRD Pro 2 weeks ago in Chicago when I was visiting Ahmed at the car care shop. And people like this, so I figured maybe I'll do something different because with a live stream style review, I can talk very casually, answer questions, and tell you a lot more about the car than I can in a short 10-15 minute video review. And so, yeah, it's good to see you guys coming. Chris, Bees, Zake. Not sure if these are your actual names, Dylan, but good to see you guys right off the bat. So, yeah, I mean, tell me what you guys want to hear about today. So I do have 25 Ford Bronco. This is the Badlands edition with a Sasquatch package. And I just literally picked it up. I really, really like it, much more than I thought. And I just had the 4Runner TRD Pro, actually with a very similar color in mud bath. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to do some comparison, even though I don't have the 4Runner TRD Pro here. I can talk about it. I can also compare it to Land Cruiser I used to own and also talk about it against the Lexus GX, which I still have right now. So those are things I plan to do. I'll show you everything with the vehicle. I'll do my usual check with the gaps in the paint job. And you might hear some noise outside, stuff like that, because it's live stream. So there's no editing. I can't edit out noise and stuff like that. There's some guy with a very loud radio going on. And things like that will have come right through live stream. So let's make sure that everybody's coming on board here. You can hear me okay. So let's start my review here. So I'm gonna keep an eye on the comments and I'm going to start with my usual check. Now you guys know that the Bronco was designed and engineered to not just compete with the likes of 4Runner, but specifically with the Jeep Wrangler. But in many ways, it's a better Jeep. It's more mature, rides better, drives better, handles much better, and at the same time, it's not maybe quite as attractive as a Jeep Wrangler, which has that very traditional Jeep look. But when I'm driving this vehicle, I'm reminded that this is kind of like taking a Land Cruiser, the 4Runner TRD Pro or Trail Hunter, and then mixing with the Jeep and combining everything in the mixer. And voila, what you end up with is a kind of a hybrid version of everything mixed together. That's why I kind of like it. I'm falling in love with Bronco. And for this price, which is about $93,000 here in Canada, it's almost identical in price to the Land Cruiser and also about the same price as the 4Runner TRD Pro and Trail Hunter because both of those are expensive. So yeah, this is not a cheap vehicle, but it does have 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6 twin turbo. So it's not a 4-cylinder unlike Land Cruiser and 4Runner. So that's really like the engine. But yeah, let's begin to do this now. So let me yeah, sorry, I got a bit of a cold, or rather the asthma is acting up, so I'm the one who's coughing, so my fault. Anyway, so actually the gap is surprisingly good. This is 3.3 millimeter there, 3.4 millimeter here, but pretty consistent considering As you know, Ford Bronco has a different system where the doors can be removed and a variety of different things can be done. So the panels are a little bit, in some way, removable, and so that's a different design. But over the years, they've really improved the quality. 3.5 millimeter there, a bit wider at 3.8 and 3.5. But more importantly, these lines, which is a telltale sign in terms of whether the panels were built well or not, all lines up. So it's the line, everything lines up really well. There is a fair amount of orange peel, which is just a process that these days with the water-based paint, it's impossible to eliminate orange peel, which is the texture of the orange, literally. And there's a fair amount of that, especially usually very noticeable around here. But that's pretty normal. I do like this color better than the mud bath color that Toyota had for the TRD Pro exclusive color last year. Now they have the beautiful blue color, but this one has a little bit more of a green overtone, and I really like this color. I wasn't crazy about the mud bath, but I do like this color. I'm gonna do the paint check now as well, but let me just check on to see if anyone has any other comments here. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's a better truck than the Jeep Wrangler, I think. And in some way, it feels more like a true off-roader compared to a 400 TRD Pro, which I really do like it as well when I drove it last week and a half ago. Okay, paint quality check. 108 microns, so that's pretty well standard, about the same as Toyota models. And oh, actually surprisingly, this is not aluminum because I can check that against my instrument here, and this is not steel either, so that's aluminum also. Oh, this is also aluminum, is that right? Yeah, this is also aluminum. I guess because doors are removable, so having aluminum will make it lighter. This is also aluminum. This is steel. So steel, aluminum, 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 which is pretty rare to have that many aluminum. The roof will be steel. Oh, sorry, this is removable, so it's actually not even a steel or aluminum. It's composite material. But this A-pillar will be steel, which is what I expected for crash testing. You have to have that. So these are all composite materials because you guys know, just like in Jeep Wrangler, this one can come off. This will come off. It's much harder to take this one off. And you can remove the door so that on the door, not easy to take it off, but you can remove the whole thing. And because of that, the power window switches are in the center console. I'll come back to the inside a little bit later. Let me open the hood also. And I got tape measures to measure some other stuff in here too. So again, not the best quality because it's live stream. They turn off the video stabilization for some reason when live streaming. I can't do wide angle as well. So lots of compromises, but it's kind of fun to do a live stream review. And another thing I noticed, of course, is that with the Bronco, there are so many trims. You can choose so many models from 2.3 liter Turbo 4 to 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6, all the way to 3 liter twin turbo V6 for the Raptor model. So I think it's, so this one I believe is 300, mid 300 horsepower. Let me double check that one. Let me see if I can look it up or someone can tell me. Okay, I can't open my thing right now, so I better not do that. Let me go back to the, no, I can't even see your comments. Okay, never mind. But the base model I think had 300 horsepower and so forth. But plenty of torque. When you step on it, it takes off pretty good. So I can't do this one hand, I think. So I'm gonna have to ask my camera person to hold the phone for a second. And I need a post for this one. Oh, here we go. It's not in the usual spot that I thought about. Sorry guys. They don't mark it very well. Oh, here it is. Oh, weird. This is not even marked properly. What's going on? That looks right. Oh, you know what? It's way over here. Sorry, guys. All the holes look the same. So that's a classic example of continuous improvement things that I do on my work. I wouldn't have marked this because every hole looks exactly the same as where you're supposed to put the prop in. But you can, this is where maybe they can improve the quality a little bit. I can see the bubbles of the insulation between the honeycomb. Now they do the honeycomb design now for a couple of reasons. One is this is aluminum hood. So you know that some of you guys have the problem with the hood fluttering, vibrating on the highway. Because by nature aluminum is light and therefore it doesn't set still. It's gonna vibrate. So in order to prevent that or to minimize that, you have to have this kind of honeycomb design to provide extra structural rigidity. So this is for structural reasons they have it. And then they use a special glue between the honeycomb design and the outer hood panel to glue it together and to secure the integrity of the design. That's what we do in engineering. But I was just a little bit surprised that the glue is all over the place, and you can see some of the glues kind of coming apart and drying incorrectly. That's not a good thing. If they should have added a bit of a sound barrier mat here, then everything will be covered, but that costs extra money. So a lot of cars have that removed now, but if they had that, they wouldn't look so bad. But otherwise, just like Toyota's 2.4 liter turbo, everything's exposed now. No one puts cover on these engines for cost reduction reason, but also if you don't cover it, the heat dissipation is better, so it doesn't heat up as much. The heat is released instead of being covered in the cover. So that's why. But it looks messy, right? That's one of the things I don't like about this style. Huge battery though in the front here. This is not a hybrid. And we got the intake over here as well. So there are many things you can probably do to increase the horsepower on the Bronco. But the most important thing is that you've got three choices, a 2.3 turbo 4 or 2.7 turbo V6 or 3 liter V6 in the case of Raptor, which cost over $100,000 here in Canada. And I think it's almost $120,000. So that's a crazy machine, costs a lot of money. But this one here, it's really like the engine actually. I like it a lot. So let me come back to see if you guys have any questions here. Yeah, so Toyota unfortunately is sticking with 2.4 turbo. They're not offering V6 in any of those TNGA-F platform vehicles. That's unfortunate. Let's do a quick walk around while other people are still kind of logging in. So this has the Sasquatch package. So it's lifted up even more than normal. It's got a big wide wheels and tires. It's got a bead lock on here. This is a Goodyear 35-inch tires, and this one is called Territory RT. So at least it's not empty tires. It's not mud tires. Mud tires have much bigger tread, and they're really uncomfortable on the pavement. So even though it's an off-road package called a Sasquatch, I think they placed a pretty good tires because the ride is actually exceptionally good. A little bit bumpy still, but for a 4x4 or Jeep style 4x4, the ride is actually really good. And it's helped by the fact that these tires are a little bit more comfortable and quieter than a true mud and tire off-road type tires. So that's really good. Let me see, anything else to show you in the back? You guys know about the basic design, so I'm not going to go into that too much. You got a classic tire and wheel on the back. Again, Goodyear Territory RT. This is, I think, new for 2025. They changed the tire. And then you have your Jeep style tailgate, opens this way. But this one is not locked, it just opens. And when you open both, this is pretty wide. So I'm gonna get my tape measure now and then try to give you some dimensions. Yeah, and you can keep on asking me some questions while I'm doing this. That'll be helpful to just get things going. So, one of my complaints, at least in Jeep Wrangler, is that the rear cargo area is so small in the Jeep. If you own Jeep Wrangler, you know what I'm talking about. But it's pretty decent. This is, let me think, give or take 32 inches up to the edge here. Cargo capacity, I don't have the exact number, but I'm just going to give you some dimensions here to give you a feel for the width. Also, the width is about 42 inches. And then most important of all, the height, which is not very big in the Jeep, but in this particular Jeep, 37 inches, 36 and a half. So the opening is pretty big. The depth is good. You can see these D pillars because you can remove this whole top. So you can actually remove everything and just leave exposed these pillars. And of course you can remove the doors. You wouldn't want to do that in the West Coast here in Vancouver because it rains so much. They're going to be putting back the panels all the time. But if you're living in a warm climate where you can leave everything off, yeah, remove it. In fact, I'm going to remove at least the front panels shortly to show you how that works. So that's the rear. It means like this one has to go in first. And then this one. It's actually pretty light. This is pretty light. Oh no, maybe not so light. There's a bit of a resistance, but it locks pretty good. Like I said, the quality is improved dramatically compared to the first year Bronco. Interesting story is that way back when the Ford Bronco first was announced, I really liked the design and I put a deposit because you could be one of those early people and you put $100 deposit, I think, to hold the name. And I did that because I was thinking of replacing both 4Runners with 2 Ford Broncos. And I was intrigued by that thinking, I guess. But we didn't end up doing it. When the Bronco finally came out, it was delayed so many times that the more I thought about it, the more I said, I'm not replacing a 4Runner with a Bronco. So I didn't do that. And eventually the 4Runners got replaced with the Lexus GX. As you guys know, that's the whole story from many years ago now. So I did really like the design of Ford Bronco and the concept of it. And you know what? This market has grown. People weren't sure whether the Bronco will steal sales from Jeep. But what happened was that the Jeep sales went up and so did the Ford Bronco. So the whole market expanded. And so it turned out the Ford didn't steal sales from Jeep. Both models actually went up in sales. So it's kind of interesting that people really want this type of vehicle. And so that brings me up to another comment is that I wish Toyota went one step further with the 4Runner. The 4Runner is a great vehicle. Even the 2.4 turbo in the 4Runner feels better than in Land Cruiser. But as you know, they chose not to have any removable panels, so nothing comes off, just a standard sunroof or moonroof. And I wish they went one step further and at least allowed this portion, the front portion, to remove the roof. That would have been a great, cool feature to have on the 4Runner. But companies don't like doing it because it really changes the structural rigidity of the vehicle. For crash testing and stuff like that, it's much harder. And it's obviously much more expensive to engineer and design and manufacture cars with removable roofs. So Toyota didn't do that with the 4Runner. But and I know people are talking and asking me about the FJ, mini FJ or FJ Cruiser of the future. And the rumors are that, well, actually there's many rumors, but I'll just talk about it a little bit now. And that is the fact that don't believe the rumors that are suddenly showing up in recent social media and other YouTube accounts. Most people don't understand what's happening with the FJ Cruiser or mini FJ. What I can tell you based on my knowledge is that, first of all, the mini Land Cruiser or mini FJ, whatever you want to call it, won't come to North America because it's based on the Hilux platform, which is built in Thailand, and it's on a different platform altogether. That platform is not certified for North American market, and therefore it's not going to come to North America because it will be too difficult and expensive to certify that. Also, traditionally speaking, North Americans don't buy small SUV. They like mid-size and bigger, at least RAV4 size, whereas the Mini FJ is kind of like a Corolla Cross size is what they're saying. So it's not even the right size and capacity for North American market. So I don't think it's going to ever come. But there may be other variations of the Land Cruiser that may come, and only the future would tell that story. But Kirk Kreifels and I'll be at the Japan Mobility Show in about a month, and let's see what they will introduce there. Let's see what we will end up seeing. But it wouldn't be the mini Land Cruiser or FJ Cruiser. You won't see that in Japan. I'm almost 99.9% sure about that. Coming back to the Ford Bronco, let's take a look inside now, and then I'll show you what's going on. And yeah, so you can ask me any questions, although I am reviewing this vehicle, so I like to kind of keep on talking about the Ford Bronco. So what can I tell you? Well, actually the interior is better than the Land Cruiser, better than the 4Runner. I think 4Runner interior is okay, but it does look a little bit cheap. Whereas this Bronco has a really good overall design. Nothing is, well, there's a hard plastic around here, but it's textured. And on top you have this nice kind of fabric style material that looks like a fabric, but I think it's actually still plastic. But it doesn't feel super hard. You got rows of buttons here for controlling the locks and differentials and stuff like that. And again, you can remove this, and I'll do that in a second. But the seats are comfortable, design looks good. Overall, I'm actually really liking it. It's still a simple design, and this grip here, very much reminiscent of what you see in the 4Runner as well, and Tacoma has the same kind of design. But overall design is good. So the question is, should I try to remove the roof panel now? You guys probably want me to do that. So let me see if there's any questions so far. Is this the good product? Still in South Cal 42 is asking. Own Lexus NX and IS 500 right now. So don't sell IS 500 if you have it. That's, as you know, that's going to be a collector's item at some point. Should you drive the Bronco? Well, I would go and drive the Bronco compared to the 4Runner, compared to Land Cruiser. If you have the money, compared to Lexus GX. For me, of all the cars, if I want comfort and luxury, but still off-road capable vehicle, I'm gonna take the Lexus GX 550 anytime over any of those vehicles, because that's the one I have now, and I really like it. But if that's a little bit too much money or too much of a luxury vehicle, then I don't know. It's gonna be toss-up between 4Runner TRD Pro, which I really liked when I drove it a little while ago, and the Ford Bronco. I think the 4Runner will still be more reliable than the Bronco, but this particular version, which is a Badland with Sasquatch package, it's a great truck, or slash SUV style truck. So I don't know, I'll be torn. It kind of depends on how long-term reliability is important to you. If that's important, maybe Toyota still, but otherwise this Bronco is better than Land Cruiser and better than 4Runner in terms of driving, in terms of features and engineering and so forth. So hopefully that answered your question. Okay, I'm thinking of purchasing a 2026 IS350. So you guys are asking questions that have nothing to do with trucks, but that's okay. Thoughts on that car and when you might get to take a look at it in person. So that's the facelifted IS. I will see it in Japan, I'm sure, next month, just a few weeks away. No one has driven it, but I don't think it drives any differently than the current 25 IS. So yeah, I don't know what to comment on it because I haven't driven it yet. But in general, I like the IS series. I'm surprised they keep selling that model because so many car companies are canceling sedans. So yeah, I mean, in general, I love the IS. If you can get an IS 500, buy that, but that's a collector's item with a V8 engine. But I have to hold my thoughts until I drive the new IS. All right. Mike, Right Lang Hog, is asking, David, I haven't commented. Oh, I have commended Ford, I guess, bringing a two-door and manual Bronco to market. I wish Toyota would send us the two-door manual SUV. Yeah, it probably won't ever happen because cheap, low content models don't make enough profit, and Toyota is a very smart business company, so they won't usually bring something that doesn't make a profit. But yeah, that would have been nice. How is the aerodynamics? No, it won't be good on these Ford Broncos. If you're thinking about how this might perform in highway speed because you want to keep the noise level down, well, that's not the case with the Bronco. It's noisy on the highway. Lots of air passing through, and it's loud. Okay, so let me step into the car now, which is very high. It doesn't have a a step, at least not in this model. So let me close the door. Hopefully you guys can see okay. Oh, I said I would remove the front panel. So let me at least move the driver's side. So I just have to unlock this and then do that and then do that. Just for another one here, so the 3. And now it'll come up. So I'm gonna try to remove it. It's a little hard to do that by myself without hurting myself. Okay. I probably shouldn't do this live stream because I might drop it. Okay, I managed to move it, so I'll just move this out of the way for now on the floor somewhere. Yeah, so I removed at least one panel and looks great. It's like a convertible. So if I remove this and remove the passenger side, it would be like a Targa roof. So that's really cool. And like I said, I wish Toyota would have offered something like that, which isn't the case right now. So where was I? So let me come back to the questions now. All right, let me just make sure that I haven't missed any question. Yeah, can't wait for you and Kirk to go to Japan. Yeah, I know. Kirk and I keep talking about it. We're both excited. He's very excited. We have very short time together this time, but yeah, we're still going to produce a whole bunch of videos. Maybe I'll do a couple of live stream and making sure that I didn't miss anything else. What's the name of the measuring tools? Well, I don't have it with me, but you can just type paint thickness gauge in Amazon. There's so many of them. Just pick any one that's within your budget that has a pretty good rating. None of them is super accurate, but they're within, let's say, 5% accuracy. And then the gap measurement, which I left it somewhere in the back, is just that one's a little bit harder to find, but you should be using a caliper if you really want to measure accurately the gaps. I just use that because it's easiest to show you guys when I'm doing a quick review. But normally in a factory, I will be using a caliper. And of course, these days we use laser to measure the gap. So we program the robot to come and measure all the gaps for all the body panels and also check to see if the panels are within spec. So not just the gap, but also to measure the actual dimensions and location of the panels, each of the panels. And that gets recorded and checked against the standard. And then any deviation from a standard, we look at the difference and then we try to then fix it. That's what we did as in the manufacturing engineering. If you ever is in that field, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so let me see, another question. How is the ride quality on 26 4Runner TRD Pro? Well, would that be same as a 25 4Runner TRD Pro? It's very similar to this one. So it's really quite comfortable, but it gets a little bit bumpy when the road gets bumpy because it's still a truck body, a truck frame. So you can't maintain the same ride quality as a unitized body. But it's quite comfortable, especially on the highway, smooth road, totally comfortable on the 4Runner. It's also very comfortable on this one, but it does get a bit busy over rough road. If you go over some bumpy road, you'll begin to lose some composure. So not the best vehicle to drive long distances on the bumpy road. You wouldn't want to do that. But both the Bronco and the 4Runner feel similar on the road. But my GX probably more comfortable because I have adaptive suspension on that unit. It's not air suspension, but it's really, really quite comfortable on my GX. So yeah, so what else can I show you on inside? Let me just start up the engine here, or at least start the instrumentation, so I can show you what's going on. Yeah, so they have made some minor changes over time. And so this is, I think, 12 inches, both panels. And it's reasonably fast now. Let me just, audio sound This one I think has an upgraded stereo system. It sounds, so this is B&O sound system. I would say it's a bit better than the JBL sound system in the 400 T30 Pro or 400 in general, but not great. I wouldn't call it super good sound quality, but acceptable. But this is really fast. I think this is in some way better than the Toyota version. I can actually, so sorry, that thing came on, shoot. Okay, sorry about that. The sound came on for a second. But anyway, it's pretty quick. This is very clear, 12-inch in terms of the digital display, the steering feel, all feels good. The quality I mentioned earlier looks pretty good. The stitching looks good on this too. This is hard plastic. This is hard plastic. It has to be because these are removable doors and things get wet. So you don't want to have these using soft plastic. The fit and finish is good, but not the best I've seen. There's some gaps here and there, and some stuff is not consistent. But it looks pretty normal for Ford, for domestic model. Maybe not the best in the world, but acceptable, I would say. But most of all, just the whole concept of a Jeep-like SUV with a removable roof, which you can remove it pretty quickly, as you saw. I mean, that's the beauty of this vehicle. I think this vehicle is smoother, drives better, it performs better than Jeep Wrangler. So I would definitely buy this over the Jeep Wrangler. And it's more fun, and has more features like the removable panels than the 4Runner. So if you want, if you live in a warm climate and you can remove the panels and leave it that way, this is essentially like having a convertible because it goes all the way. Like if you look at the opening, it goes pretty far back behind me actually. So it's bigger than a sunroof, like a traditional sunroof. And if you remove both panels, you get the full exposure to sun. So that's really cool. I think if you want to be able to do that, if you want to be able to remove the panels, yeah, absolutely, it's more interesting than the 4Runner. I think the resale value not so good on the Bronco though compared to Toyota models. So keep that in mind. But it's also a bit cheaper. Not this particular model because this one is has everything. It's not Raptor, but it has all the options. So it's not cheap. It's $94,000 Canadian. But the good thing is that with the Bronco, you can buy a very basic one starting in about $50,000, $60,000 range and ramp it up based on options and features. And the basic backbone is the same, right? Still removable roof, either 2.3 or 2.7 liter engine. And you still get this kind of Jeep-like feel and a good driving character as well. So I think the value is actually very good. Again, maybe down the road, Toyota will introduce a vehicle with a removable panels. That would have been a good idea for something like a future FJ, but I don't think that's coming to North America, at least not in the short term. So let me answer a few more questions. I'm going to begin to then log out. So how long have I been talking now? I can't quite tell. How long has it been? 30 minutes or so? So let me come back. Oh, Barry, thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to contribute any money here, but you did. Thank you, Barry. I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you. So Barry Dexler said, just wanted to say thank you for the super fantastic review that you consistently share. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really very nice of you. So I'll give you extra heart here. All right. Thank you for that. Any questions, Barry? Do you have any questions I can answer for you? Since you got my attention here, I'm happy to answer some questions for you. So let me know. Otherwise, Mike from Right Lane Hog. So thank you for coming on, right, Mike? You always comments on my videos. I appreciate that. I wonder why GM does not compete with Bronco and Wrangler. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's really hard to sometimes figure out how a car company decides what to produce based on budget, timing, their engineering capability, and their basic market share, how they decide. I mean, Ford made a huge jump to produce the Bronco against Jeep Wrangler, but you have to remember that Ford has a very big truck followers. So you know that the Ford truck buyers would love the Bronco, the concept of Bronco. Whereas GM also has lots of truck buyers, but they buy a lot of full-size truck, and not sure. I guess somehow in there decided that there's no profit or not enough profit to produce a Jeep Wrangler competitor. That's probably what I can say. It usually comes down to dollar and cents. But if GM could produce a Bronco or Wrangler competitors, that would be wonderful to have one more entry in this market. Would only enhance and strengthen this market. So that would be great. All right. So T4 said, I like the integrated screen instead of a glued iPad. Yeah, I do agree that recess into the dash panel here. You have, first of all, you have this here as a shield, so you don't get the sun reflecting off. It's still very easy to access with my hand, and it looks better than those iPad style one where it sticks out. That's what most companies do these days, but this definitely looks better. All right, guys. So Barry, do you have any questions from me? You're okay for now? I assume that's okay for now. Mike, if you have any question, throw in there. Who else do I recognize? Let me see. There's a bunch of people I recognize, but it's probably a bit of an unusual time to do a live stream at what is this, Friday afternoon, I guess. So probably not the best timing. People are still working or going to go somewhere for Friday. Yeah, so any questions about Japan, where I'm going? Any questions about the Ford Bronco? Any questions about the 4Runner TRD Pro or 4Runner in general? Because it is a direct competitor to Bronco. Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'm going to begin to wrap up here. I don't know if there's anything else to show. I guess I could show the back seat. So let me turn the car off again. Actually, I just started the engine, which is very quiet, by the way. So this 2.7 liter EcoBoost V6 is, I think it's a really fantastic engine. So let me turn the engine off, and then I'm gonna step out of the car one more time. And then, oh, Barry has a question. So Barry, is the Grand Highlander a great vehicle from a safety perspective to travel in mountains? Well, so the interesting thing about safety is that there's two things you have to keep in mind. One is the fact that go and check out the various crash testing that we have. So NCAP, also, there's a couple of different tests that they do. And so go and take a look. If I remember correctly, the Grand Highlander did well in the most recent crash test. But also keep in mind that nothing can beat the law of physics. So you guys know I'm an engineer, so this is maybe, you would expect me to say this, but bigger and heavier the object, the more power it has when it impacts something. So if you were to have a Grand Highlander get into accident with a Toyota Yaris, well, the Grand Highlander is going to win every single time. But if the Grand Highlander hits a Ford F-350 truck, well, the Ford F-350 truck will likely win based on momentum and velocity. So a lot of the safety things to do with the car is actually to do with the size and the weight. But if you're asking, Barry, about traveling in mountains, so if you're talking about, I guess in that case, traction, handling, that kind of stuff, I think you might be asking. The Grand Highlander has a very good system in terms of all-wheel drive. It's more to do with the tires. Any tires that comes standard with OEM models, any of the original equipment manufacturers' tires are typically okay, but not the best. So if you really want to have the best condition or best situation in the mountains, Barry, get a dedicated snow tires or winter tires in the winter, and then put those season or summer tires back in during the non-winter seasons. That's always the best. So if you get, I like some of the winter tires from Michelin, for example, are really good. Otherwise, you can also put all-weather tires, which are almost like winter tires, but not quite. They can be driven all year round, and they have the three-peak mountain symbol, signaling that they are certified for true winter driving. So like a Michelin Cross Climate 2 or any of the Nokia tires and so forth are all good tires. So put all-weather tires if you want the best traction in the winter time. I think that you can still drive all year. Otherwise, switch between winter tires and summer tires, or winter tires and all-season tires. That's the best compromise. If driving, Barry said, if driving a truck in snow, the bed is light in the truck. Yeah, so if you have a truck and you want to drive in snow, you got to put some weight in the back. So buy some bags of salt maybe, because you need to use that probably in your home anyway, or a bag of sand. But you got to add 50 pounds or even 100 pounds to the back of the pickup bed to just give it that extra weight on the rear wheels, because many trucks are rear wheel drive. Some trucks have four-wheel drive, full-time four-wheel drive, or anytime four-wheel drive. In that case, you don't need to rely as much on the weight. But anyway, having some weight in the back just helps stabilize the balance of the weight, and it brings the whole truck to a higher stability. So that makes so much sense. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Barry. Let's go and take a look at the back seat. Let me show you what I have, and then we have to try to wrap up here, guys. I think I'm talking for about 40 minutes already. So the good thing about the Ford Bronco is actually a pretty decent back space. You guys know my complaints with the 4Runner TRD Pro, which comes with those isometric seats, iso something seats. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out here. And that takes up a lot of space. But in general, Toyota trucks like the Tacoma and the 4Runners have really shrunken the rear seats. That's just a big complaint. If you look at the 5th gen 4Runner, we had a huge space in the back seat, and the back seat can also slide forward and backward in the 5th gen. So I remember oftentimes taking people on my 4Runner before, and I would say, wow, this is like a limousine. There's so much space in the back. So that isn't the case with the new 4Runner, but anyway, coming back to Ford Bronco, it's pretty decent space. You can see how much space there is. You can adjust the seat a little bit. I think I can adjust the angle of this seat also. Oh, not so much. No, actually this is as far back as it will go, but this will tumble forward. I won't do that right now. But yeah, for this type of vehicle, the space and capacity is good. It's better than the Wrangler because it's roomier and also just more modern, and general drives better than the Wrangler. So that's my live stream review of the Ford Bronco. I really enjoyed driving it. I'm going to drive it for a little bit more. Next week, I'm off to the Toyota RAV4 driving event. There is an embargo for that one, so obviously can't talk about anything other than static things, which I can. So in a couple of weeks, when the embargo is lifted, keep an eye out for my channel, because RAV4 will be one of the most important models for Toyota. They sell almost 500,000 worldwide. And you guys know we own many different versions of the RAV4, including the very first model, which came out in 1997. We owned that for 20 years. And then we bought a 2018 RAV4, then a 2020, and now 2021 RAV4 plug-in hybrid, PHEV. And so we might change one of the RAV4s to the new version. And either way, I'm really looking forward to driving that car next week. So it's going to be pretty busy October. I'm driving that. Then I'm driving the new Nissan Sentra, and then off to Japan. Then we have a Canadian Car of the Year event in October, which is also really busy time. There'll be like 40 cars there. I'll be driving them back to back and vote which car should get the Canadian Car of the Year. I'm a vice president at the association, Automobile Journalists Association of Canada, and I have a responsibility for not just the voting for the car, but also be part of the team that manages the Car of the Year event. So lots of responsibility and lots of things happening next couple of weeks. But without, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to sign off, guys. Stefan is asking thoughts on the new Prius Prime. Well, the Prius Prime haven't changed for a while, and it's in a small car market. I think it's still one of the best plug-in hybrid. It drives well. It looks great for a small car. It is a bit small. They shrunk in the interior. They lowered the car to make it look nicer. It's almost like a sports sedan now, and drives surprisingly good. Feels really tight. I think it's underappreciated, the Prius Prime, but it is a bit small inside, so keep that in mind. All right, guys. Yeah, Mike, have a good weekend. Everyone have a good weekend. Hopefully you learned something about the Ford Bronco here. More to come. Once in a while, I'll do a live stream review instead of a normal review. This way I can talk to you more casually, answer a bunch of questions, and hopefully share more insight than I could in a standard edited versions of the review. So let me know in the comments now or later if you like a live stream style of review. I did it with the 400 TRD Pro. I'm doing it with the Ford Bronco. If this works for you, if you like it, I might do more of it. And so I have a chance to interact with you. But let's talk again and keep an eye on my channel. Until next time, I'm signing off. Thank you guys.